I'm here because I want to inspire you to prototype, if you're not doing it already. Because I think prototyping is actually one of the most powerful things you can do as a designer. So why prototype? Well, I think it comes down to the fact that we're actually kind of bad at anticipating things. If you think about it, we make up for this when we test drive a car before we purchase it. We date before we marry. And we evaluate before we commit. And now that we live in the future, with touch screens and natural user interface, it's only harder to predict what kind of problems will arise. So it's very common for us to start a design project with ideas and then make pictures and create a walkthrough, a linear walkthrough, to get a basic sense of the interactions. And then spec it and start building the product. And then once it's built, then we start playing with it. We're putting the commitment before the evaluation. And I think to be successful in now that we live in the future, we need to put the play before the product. And I think prototyping is a fantastic way to do that. So in this context, what are we talking about for a prototype? Well, there are three kinds that have really worked well for me. The first is a functional prototype. This is a tab management prototype I did for a web browser. And the functional prototype is just extending from the walkthrough and making it work basically. It's designing a feature in isolation. But what's brought me the best success is the parameterized prototype, where we take the functional prototype and lay on a whole bunch of variables, levers and knobs and sliders, so that in real time, I can adjust things like the item width and evaluate the prototype with the variables. It becomes a design tool. And then finally, there's the end-to-end prototype. And that's where, again, I take the functional prototype, put it in context, render it in high fidelity, and then add other prototypes that I've made along the way to see how all these things that were designed in isolation play together in the same sandbox. Again, it's very hard to anticipate the problems that arise. So I said prototyping is power. Here's where the power comes in. It's a powerful design tool because you have a very tight feedback loop in that you have the ability to build something, play with it, figure out what's working or what isn't, and then go back and fix it right away. And when you have that, it's a powerful design tool. It lets you design in a very serendipitous kind of way that you can't do with static methods like pictures and walkthroughs. And so once you've got a great design from prototyping, it's a fantastic consensus builder. We've all been in that meeting where there's 10 people who will rationalize why your design won't work, or more dangerously, why it will work. And that's how bad things end up being built. It's because they're using rationalizations. Anything can be rationalized, and that's why I hate rationalizations. Proof and evidence are the enemy of rationalizations. Rationalization is my enemy. My enemy's enemy is my friend. And so once you've convinced these people, it's a fantastic communication device because they can take your prototype and go off with it and hold it up for the people who need to see it on your behalf. You don't have to walk along with a PowerPoint file and narrate it wherever it goes. And so who should do the prototyping? Because over in design land, we've got designers doing pictures and ideas and walkthroughs, and designers don't code. And then in dev world, we have developers doing product quality code, and prototype is sort of throwaway, very scrappy and dirty. So who belongs in that middle? Well, I think both designers and developers belong there. And that's my call to action today, is because I think designers, I think we need to learn how to code. It's incredibly empowering. It's kind of fun. Well, it's a lot of fun. And it's actually a bit easier than you think. And then developers, my call is to join us in the space because you have a lot to teach us. And fundamentally, we all like making things. That's what we have in common. And the closer we are in that process, the better what we create is going to be. And besides, you can help us learn how to code. And so I said designers don't code. Maybe, but I think powerful designers do. And so you're probably wondering, what is the best method then? Because there are a lot of different options. Some of these aren't even code. But the best option, oh, I know what you're laughing at, and it's okay to use PowerPoint. But anyway, what is the best method? It's whatever takes you the least amount of time. Because we're in the business of answering questions, conveying ideas, and communicating concepts. We don't have to create production quality code. And so I said I hate rationalizations, but I'll leave you with one that I like. Again, anything can be rationalized. So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then I think an animation is worth 1,000 pictures. By that logic, then, I think a prototype is worth 1,000 animations. Well, it doesn't stop there. I think a product is worth 1,000 prototypes. One product, one that I work on, is Windows. Windows costs $200. $200 then means 1,000 prototypes. Dividing, that means my prototype is worth 20 cents, which kind of sucks. However, 20 cents multiplied by 400 million copies means my prototype is worth 80 million bucks. And so you can use this for your project, for your product, what have you. And it'll make you feel good. It's a great rationalization. But what'll make you feel better is building your own prototypes. Thank you.